Hey y'all. I cannot get this lighting right today, but that's okay. We are just going to go with the entire flow. All right. You know, this is your girl Momo Love presenting many voices of the community. And this is an extension of my weekly radio talk show called Community Voices, which airs on a Blazing Radio. It's a weekly talk show where like minded people come together to share common goals and interests. And I thought since the onset of novel coronavirus novel COVID-19, I started reaching out to friends and family, people in the community, just trying to find out, how they're doing, what they're going through. And with the death of George Floyd and Rayshard Brooks and just everything, I wanted to kind of focus on my brothers, just to see where their mindset is. And today, I talked to athlete, agriculturist. He's an entrepreneur of a t-shirt line called No Ignorance. Welcome, Malachi Ledbetter. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So, again, the whole goal is to check in on my Black brothers just to find out how you're doing with all of this coronavirus and George Floyd and put my eyes on you and say how you're doing. There's so much going on in the world. How old are you, Malachi?
I just turned 18 on June
Oh,
19th.
okay. So that makes the conversation even more lively. You know why? Because I feel like you are at a coming of age time, right? Even though you guys, Generation Z, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
You guys, it seems like you have the world at your fingertips, but oh my goodness, what kind of world is it? Um, Coming of age, you do have a father, you have father figures in your life, guidance. Um, how do you get that center, that focus?
Um, well, I think, when things happen like this, it's really good to reach out to your mentors and stuff and pick their brain, I've just been talking a lot with my grandmother, 'cause she's experienced, like the real Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff that's happened. So getting that perspective is good because it allows me to see, even though things are bad now, we are making progress, and, surely, slowly but surely. Um, yeah.
And I love that you sit at the elders, sit at your grandma's feet and just hear what's going on. What kind of things does she advise you on as far as getting better or have gone through these things? What kind of advice does she give you?
Um, well, this is just like don't lose hope. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to get into that mindset. Been going through this for 400 years, and it's still here. But you can't lose hope that
Yeah.
things will eventually be better.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been watching, George Floyd could have been your uncle, right? Rayshard
Right.
Brooks, I mean, could have been your brother almost, And we hear what grandma's saying, we hear what the elders are saying, that we got to keep hope, we got to keep pressing. But emotionally, how are you feeling about seeing all that imagery?
I say at first, uh, kind of numb, because it's just a lot to take in. It's unbelievable. And then I guess like a rage after that,
Hmm.
because it's just like, how could they do that? And then kind of a depression, because, going through that, oh, it could have been, you know, my dad or brother or me. Um, but now I guess I've gotten to a better spot where it's more like an inspiration, I guess, where the fact that this is happening is, and the response that we've gotten from all of the members of our community, regardless of color, creed, all that. It's kind of inspiring to see the community coming together.
Yeah. You talk about the numbness, you talk about the rage, you talk about depression. And, May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And a lot of times we kind of attribute mental health awareness to women. We don't really speak about what guys go through. Again, coming of age. Yeah, you got your dad. Yeah, you got your mentors. Um, but, it's difficult to talk about what's really going on in your heart, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about speaking to professionals, or do you have someone that you can actually speak to, like no judgment, get it all out, the ugly cry and all that?
Not really, but I am like working on finding a mental health professional to speak to.
Good, good. You think it's important?
I definitely do think it's important because I think just like your physical body will break down if you don't take care of it, your mental health will break down if you don't take care of it.
Yeah. And I noticed that you are an athlete, and I think you also, are you a vegan?
No.
No? Okay. But you are an athlete, so you know how important is the physical movement of your body, the mental health awareness of your mind, and ensuring that you eat well and getting the proper rest. Talk to us about how you kind of maintain that balance.
Um, I would say it kind of is like getting into a routine, and having that discipline. And once you get into the habit, it just becomes easier. It's really just about fighting to initially build those good habits.
Yeah. And with all these distractions in the world, though, sometimes it can be kind of put you off kilter. You just got to stay dedicated, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's one good thing about this whole crisis and the stay-at-home orders. It really gives you a lot of time to focus
Yeah.
on things that you might have neglected before.
So speaking of, what kind of new projects are you working on, or have you been focusing on how to start your new projects since this whole coronavirus? Good Lord, it's been March. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, right?
Yeah, I mean I've been doing a couple different things. Like I'm really into the environment and that kind of stuff. So I've done some projects with that. Like I've been growing my own mushrooms, and also I've had kind of like a t-shirt business for a while that I haven't been working that much on, but this has given me a lot of time to get back into that.
Malachi, I have been trying for 3 seasons, 3 years to grow some vegetables, and it just does not work. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have a black thumb. It is not working. There must be some kind of secrets. And I think, part of us maybe walking towards unity is that we got to teach each other how to plant and grow and fish and all that stuff. Can I put you on that team?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to show what I know.
Yeah. They say children are the future. You are Generation Z, just turning 18, trying to figure this whole thing out. Technology is the rage, social media. I mean, you get a lot of news. I mean, your voices can be heard through social media. Um, but how has it adjusted for you, social media, in lieu of George Floyd, in lieu of how you view police?
Well, I think one of the things about social media is sometimes it can make it seem like the extremists are in the majority, on both sides. Um, because you have these people who can say these things without repercussions, no one knows it's them, so they say outlandish things sometimes. So trying to sift through that and keep a cool head and realize that these people saying these things are not really in the majority. They're just trying to get a rise out of people. It's kind of important to being a digital citizen.
Yeah. Did your parents have the talk with you about what you do when the police pull you over?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
How did that
think.
go?
I mean, not even really because of this. When I was probably when I like first became a teen, like 13, 14 years old, they were really, we're talking about, you got to keep your hands on the steering wheel, head forward, be respectful, don't give them any reason to don't cause any trouble because we don't get treated the same way that people who don't look like us get treated.
Yeah. When did you first realize that? or have you come across that situation yet?
I don't know. I think it was. I want to say it was innate, kind of. I really don't even remember when it started because my childhood best friend, his dad was a cop. And I just remember as a kid being scared of police. Like I don't even know why, but I remember he told his dad that I was afraid of police, and so his dad, was talking to me about how police are supposed to protect and serve. So I guess it made me feel a little better. And he's Hispanic, so also a person of color. But yeah, I really don't even remember
Wow.
initially when it started.
That's interesting. So, what are your thoughts on law? When the police pull you over, do you know like your basic rights or just what to do? Even though sometimes we do all the right things and just don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like sometimes it doesn't even matter. You could do everything right and they could still get you. Like even on a broader scale, the systems are designed to keep us under like the bond system and then the court appointed attorneys and stuff. It's really just a very vicious system.
Yeah, yeah. So this year you're able to vote.
Yeah.
Have you been researching and thinking about what you're going to do as far as the presidential election and the local election?
Yeah, and my little brother, he can't vote yet, but he keeps me updated on everything that's happening. He's
Okay,
really into
yay,
that
little
stuff.
brother. Okay, good. So you got a good idea of who you want to vote for.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you get out there and do any protesting, any demonstrating?
Yeah, there was a protest in kind of the next town over from where I live, so I
Okay.
went down there.
How was that?
It was nice.
How did you find out about it?
Just social media. But yeah, I mean, here in this area, I live in Whatcom County in North in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Native Americans. So that's also a big voice in the minority community. So it was
Okay.
interesting, just seeing their
So was it
perspective too.
organized or was everybody just out there waving their flags and shouting loud? How was it?
It was organized and they had speakers come up and talk about their experiences and tell their stories.
Okay. But where you live, there's not a lot of police brutality or big presence of police like that.
Well, I live, about an hour and a half north of Seattle, so
Seattle,
I
Washington.
guess not in my immediate area. Yeah, so
Okay.
but it's still, I guess you could, I wouldn't call it local, but not
Gotcha.
too far off.
Gotcha. So what are your thoughts on the looting that you see? I'm in DC, so it's corrupt, it's turned up out here, right? So what do you think about the looting and the burning and all of that stuff?
At my school there is a like an African American student club, and so we're having a Zoom meeting a few weeks back, and I was talking with one of the members who had been to one of the Seattle protests on a day where there was looting, and from what she said, it seems like the looters and the protesters are not even like. On the same blocks,
Mm.
so the media is trying to make it seem kind of like the protests are turning into looting when in reality the looting and the protests are completely separate events. The looters
Gotcha.
are taking advantage of the fact that the police are preoccupied with the protesters.
Yeah. A lot of flim flammery going on out there.
Yeah.
All right. So you're talking about your t-shirt business. You're getting back into that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I should have one on right now, but I don't. But
Got to be ready,
the,
Malachi.
I know. But I created it's like a no ignorance brand t-shirt. I created it over 2 years ago. Because a lot of crazy stuff kind of like now is happening in the world, and a lot of it to me, it just seems like it's a result of ignorance. Um, so I created the brand, and now I have it online, available online. Initially, it was I would sell them at rallies and protests and things.
I love it. I love it. So we got to get that back up so we can get out there and make sure you're supported by any means necessary. It's been a lot of emotions. I'm sure even though you had your parents in your life, your grandmom, your mentors, little boys are taught not to cry, right? And
Yeah.
with so much stuff going on, so hard to convey. We talked about you, really seeking some more guidance to help you kind of figure out what your thoughts are. And I'm glad that you are going to seek some type of mental health, to kind of balance those things out. What are your peers saying right now about everything? I mean, are you guys angry? You ready to go tear some stuff up?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting mixed responses, you know. Some people are definitely angry and for a good reason, and then there's other peers of mine that are confused, I guess, with why people would do that. But um I would say there's definitely like a healthy middle ground, you know, being able to use that emotion and channel it into something good.
Yeah. The reason that I wanted to talk to a lot of my brothers out there is because you guys don't get your voices heard. And then Generation Z, 19 and under, sometimes we older folks think you're spoiled and entitled and your voice doesn't matter. But man, you guys have been out there driving, you've been leading the pack. Do you think that some of us have failed you guys?
Hmm. I would say I think that for the most part, people have, you know, done the best that they can, you know. And I think you know, with older generations, we're not like in between me and my grandma, it was kind of a feeling of after the civil rights movement of, you know, we won kind of, we can, you know, take a rest sort of.
Mm,
Um, but I get now it's time to, you know, kick it back into high gear and start pushing again.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think so too. Coronavirus started in March. Um, so much stuff has happened. I mean, we have found out black men, and even a couple women have been lynched. Um, it is so scary out here. But coronavirus is still here. Do you think it's too soon for the world to open up? And how are you coping with the mask and gloves and sanitizing?
Um, I don't know, that's kind of a tough one. I mean, because on one hand, definitely do want to see things open up, you know, not only for recreation, but also for those jobs and that kind of thing. Um, but we still do have to protect our immunocompromised population. So I think there's probably a safe way to do it, you know, if we listen to our health professionals and do it safely. But I think what I'm seeing now is people are getting kind of restless and being irresponsible, and this is what's causing the increase in cases. And as far as, you know, getting used to the masks and all of the sanitizing, I think it's kind of becoming second nature slowly but surely. Like, you know, I've had those. I mean, just today I went to the store to pick up something and realized I forgot my mask and I had to drive all the way back. And then, so this learning curve, but I think we're doing good.
Yeah, I have reading glasses, right? So I have like five pairs everywhere. It's like that with the mask. Like you have one in the house, you have one in the car, you have one in your purse, you have one in your bag. Yeah, it's becoming the new norm almost, and I don't know if I like this new normal.
Yeah, it's gonna feel strange
Yeah,
when it's no longer necessary.
yeah. Do you know about the census? Did you complete the census, or do you know if you were counted in the census?
I think my mom did the census for our household.
Okay, good. Make sure double check. Okay.
All right.
So, athlete, agriculturist. What does that mean, agriculturist?
Well, you know, I do several, like I was mentioning before, the little project I was doing with growing the mushrooms. But since I was probably 8 years old, I've been, you know, growing stuff by myself and, you know, experimenting with different ways to grow things, and I'm just kind of always been interested in that kind of thing.
Well, all right. You're going to have to start a YouTube or a class or something so I can learn how to grow some peas and onions and mint. I can't even grow mint, Malachi. It's just, it's horrible. It's horrible. Are you working right now?
No.
Okay. So we're going to put the prayers in the air that your t-shirt line sell out, right? And tell us the website where we can go and get those.
NoIgnoranceGear.com.
All right. All right. Any final words, sir?
Um, no, not really. Just
No.
thank you for having me.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate you. You know, like I said, mental health awareness is a serious issue, and definitely for our brothers, our Black brothers from age young, 8 and up, going through, you know, trying to figure themselves out, especially between manhood and masculinity. We can't even talk about that because I don't think you've experienced enough things in life to, you know, get to that point. But you are definitely exhibiting the no ignorance brand that you have, which is just being aware. I'm so glad that you have people in your life that are guiding you and that you are not afraid to seek additional guidance. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to make sure I push that out, get my shirt. Um, I just commend you, young man, and I thank you, Malachi Ledbetter, for joining me today. For those people that are on your page, my name is Momo Love, and I host a weekly radio talk show called Community Voices with Momo Love alongside DJ Firebone. It can be heard on Ablazing Radio, www.ablazingradio.com, every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it is where like-minded people come together to share common goals and interests. Where can we follow you on social media? You have about 15 pages.
Um, so I have Malachi underscore does fitness. That's like my fitness page where I post my workouts. And then I have the real underscore malware, which is the brand page I have. And then I have Malachi underscore LD, which is just my personal page.
All right. So I'm going to log on to fitness and growing some plants because I need to get these guns ready for when we open up to be outside.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
You too.